A few minutes ago, I was actually curious about the definition of feminism. I know what I think it means, but I wanted to be sure before I made this video. So typing in the word feminism, I got this result. The advocacy of women's rights on the basis of the equality of the sexes. Seems like a pretty interesting definition, but I needed more depth in the answer. So I went to the International Women's Development Agency and I click this particular link, and it says, quite simply, feminism is about all genders having equal rights and opportunities. It's about respecting diverse women's experiences, identities, knowledge and strengths, and striving to empower all women to realize their full rights. In theory, when you really look at feminism, that's not what men have a problem with, because, equality in the law, I think it's fair. That's what men are looking for. Fairness. If a woman can do what a man can do, I believe that women should have the opportunity to do it. But what men encounter in the real world with feminism isn't the same thing that we're experiencing in its theoretical definition. Well, what do you mean when you say that, O'Shea? I'm glad you asked that question. I want to show you some hypocrisies that we are experiencing with women in feminism. If you see somebody like Lala Anthony, now she's in her early 40s now. After divorcing Carmelo Anthony, she started getting messages from young men. Let's play the clip of her even talking about that.
Here's how it goes. Because this is what I'm finding. I don't understand this. This is how it goes. Okay. When you're younger, you want to date older guys. And I'm not saying when you get older, you want to date younger guys, but when you get older, only younger guys want to date you. It's the wildest thing. Literally, guys will DM me or want to take me out, and I'll Google them. I'll be like, you're 22 years old. Like, what? How? Like, how does this work? But like, so confident, so like, I want to take you out. I think you're amazing. And I'm just like, what's the cutoff? Like, I don't know the cutoff. I'm just saying, what is the cutoff?
No, it's a real thing.
But okay, but we got to go back. Okay. We'll get to that next.
Yeah, because we do have
But
to
I don't get what this thing is like.
No, it's a real thing.
The older you get, the younger the guys get, and it's wild.
So you see, she even admitted to it. Guys were trying to talk to her, and then when it was at least believed she was dating some of these younger men, women were praising her for being a cougar, and it's okay to change up. Sometimes, the young guys know what they're doing better than the old guys. But, when you hear about somebody like Leonardo DiCaprio, who's in his early 50s dating 19-year-olds or 20-year-olds, you get people like Melissa Ford coming after him. Because now we're not dealing with equality. It's only equality for women, and it's demeaning men for doing the same exact thing. And I want to talk about this because this is very similar to our situation with Erykah Badu. Now, Erykah Badu is a very talented artist, one of the greatest of her generation. And, Erykah Badu is still very beautiful, but Erykah Badu has a troubled dating history. I mean, the DOC, she was with Andre 3000, amongst others. And, she was dealing with this young man, Jaron Atkinson, also known as Jaron The Secret. He's 27 years old. Erykah Badu is 51 or 52. Now, when they got together, it wasn't a whole lot of women saying, hey, this guy is old enough to be your son, or stop the show. Yes, young enough to be your son. Nobody was seeing it. It was like this. 7 years old, girl. Yeah, here's her birthday, young man. Go ahead, girl. Go ahead. Get it home, bro. Right. We know that. But what's the reason that Erykah Badu wants a guy 27 years old in the first place? Well, let's go to Dr. Tiasan Johnson, a collaborator of mine on YouTube, on the idea of husband sons.
Well, it was something I noticed. I actually had a brother reach out to me, and he was talking about, he was married and his wife is a six-figure earner, and he talked about her girlfriends that would come over and complain about their husbands. And as he would talk about it, one of the things he shared with me is they had to ask for an allowance from their wives just to go hang out and drink a beer. So I was just kind of asking him some more questions about it. And one of the things he revealed is that this group of six-figure earning women were all exclusively married to brothers who were ex-cons. And if anything, they were unemployed and to some extent homeless when they met. You know what I mean? And so now they're kind of house husbands, which there's nothing wrong with if that's what works for your relationship. But the problem was the women were actually complaining about the fact that they didn't have an income, complaining about the fact that they weren't the men that, you know, that they've been idealizing since they were young. And yet these were the men that they chose, right? And so he was confused, and he reached out to me because he was asking me, why is this the case? And as I started to look into it, I realized it really wasn't a whole lot different than son husbands. So, you know, we talk about son husbands as boys whose biological mothers kind of have them play husband roles in their lives, play roles that are really, you know, inappropriate. And it doesn't have to get sexual, but unfortunately, there are times where it does. There's sexual violation in regard to that. But for the most part, when we talk about son husbands, these are biological offspring that are asked to play emotionally laborious roles for mothers that usually are reserved for, you know, men. With husband sons, one of the things I began to notice is that you had well-to-do women who were employed, who were educated, so on and so forth, and who would use the rationale that there were no other options, and they would choose men that were intentionally in such a low position that those men could not offer much challenge. So in other words, they were in the dominant position in the relationship. These men depended on them for hearth and home, for income, for food, for everything. And if there was so much as an argument, those men would be out on the street.
So you see, guys, husband sons are men that women take care of in order to have control over the men. Now, if a man does the same thing to a woman, he's controlling her, he's demeaning her, he's sexualizing her. But for Erykah Badu, it's not a problem. See, they were living together. She's paying his bills, providing financial support to him while he worked on his less than stellar rap career. She was sponsoring him while he was booty clapping sounds. But they have decided to split, right? But now there are a couple stories here, which is, you know, like number one, he is being kicked out of her house on the streets, and she's only going to pay his bills for 8 more weeks while he gets severance pay, something like that. But they are officially over. But what we're not talking about is a bigger issue. How come Erykah Badu in her 50s still looks very good? Why is she dealing with a man that is 27? Oh, okay. Because we want to make excuses for ladies if they can't get the kind of guys on their level. Like, we can shift the goalposts. This is what feminism is supposed to call it down the middle, right? So if a man can't get the woman that he wants, we should be able to tell him the truth. But if a woman can't get the man that she wants, we have to praise her for getting a younger man, even though that younger man is going to be at her will, because he doesn't have any money, he doesn't have any experience, and he can't contribute. See, she is using him the same way Melissa Ford is saying Leonardo DiCaprio is using young women. The only difference is it's okay for a woman that's 51 to take care of a man that's 27, knowing damn well if that man had money, if that man had a career, he would not be dealing with her. But nobody talks about that. See, if the passport bros go over to Asia or to Latin America and they have a woman that is younger than them, it's completely terrible. Those guys are sexualizing Dominican women or Brazilian women or whatever. But right there in America, you have a 51-year-old Erykah Badu that's dating a young guy that don't have anything to offer her. And we're not talking about why. Because Erykah Badu's attitude and position in life has turned off almost every guy that could have been with her, that could have taken care of her. So much so that her ex Andre 3000 is a great relationship with an Asian woman now. And see, this is okay. I mean, we see like the whole situation with Rihanna, A$AP Rocky, and Lonnie Love and James Welsh, and we see this all the time. These women, when they get older, the door doesn't swing open for the high-powered guys as much as it used to. So they get with these guys where they know they can control them. And then when it ends, hey, it's on to the next, right? But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of Let's Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell. We're out.